Hello and welcome to ACS Golf and today's review, which has been released Friday UK time 12 AM, which is going to mean one thing: is a brand new club for 2025, and a club that I'm actually really excited to review for you guys. It's a club that I really enjoy. Well, not really enjoy, sorry, the brand I really enjoy. I'm not sure I enjoy this club. We'll come to that conclusion at the end of the video, but the brand, I love them. I played their putters before. I think they're great, definitely premium up there with the Scotty Camerons out there. And this is their first sort of jump into the zero torque putters. Now, obviously, you know what this club already is because you clicked on this video, but here it is anyway. It is a Bettinardi Antidote SB1. Now, as you can see there, look at that center shaft putter there because it is their zero torque model. Now, they have a mallet zero torque, but I picked up the blade because I actually love a blade. I've always wanted to play a blade. Not many people play blades anymore. A lot of people play mallet putters for that forgiveness, helping with alignment, etc. I mean, majority of tour players actually play, those mallet putters now. You don't see many blades out there, but personally, I do love a blade. Don't get me wrong, I'm currently playing a mallet, but maybe if I can find a blade that I really love and I can perform with it all the time, then it definitely would go in the bag. So I thought, ooh, zero torque blade putter, this could be the one. So that's why I picked it up. But as I've already mentioned, perhaps not the putter for me, and I'll discuss that at the end of this video. But as always, what we're going to do is we're going to have a closer look at this club, talk through all the technologies in it. Then I'm going to get down to putting green, just show you a few putts with you guys, discuss my, my thoughts about it, the feel of it, how it compares maybe to a L.A.B putter as well, because I actually played L.A.B over the years. Never tried their blade putter, but did try the Mez and the DF 2.1 as well. Played that for a little bit, the first sort of proper zero torque, company out there. And then we'll come back here, go through the ACS Golf Scale, and then we'll also discuss the idea of, should you be going for this, or can you go for more cheaper, zero torque putters out there, because there are now a few cheaper options. All right, well, without further ado, let's have a closer look at this club. So there you go, and it's a gorgeous looking thing. I absolutely love the looks of this. I know it's a bit beefy, so for your normal sort of blade putter, it is a little bit beefy, especially that sort of top line there, but it's a good looking thing. I really do enjoy the looks of this. And, I've always been a big fan of Bettinardi as well, to be fair, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing the name wrong. I think I've done a video before and I was told that, so bear with me, but we do know what it is. So I'm just going to call it the SB1. So yeah, big fan of this SB1, love the look of it, really, really cool. Now let's get into the technology that's in this club. So we've got simple balance technology. So with a precisely engineered pocket and 6061 aluminium insert, which is in the back here, the SB1 centre of gravity, so COG, lies perfectly at the centre of the putter, creating a zero torque head that stays naturally on path and square from start to finish. So that's the whole reason for this, that quite thick top line there, and that's why you've got this sort of nice little cool, writing there on the back there. You've got fit face, so field impact technology, face milling. So milled from 303 stainless steel, the exclusive Bettinardi face milling removes 55% of the face material, resulting in a soft, responsive feel. That's why you have these sort of lines. A lot of brands have been doing them over the years. I mean, Scotty Cameron are now back doing them as well. They originally had them back in the day with the Studio Select. I think it's Studio Select, could be wrong there, but they brought it back, and a lot of these firms are bringing back TaylorMade with their new sort of, well, last year premium putters are using that same sort of thing, with the idea obviously there's less metal touch in the face, so therefore you get that softer feel. And obviously Bettinardi have been doing it for years, and it's worked really, really well. Some of the best feeling putters out there, in my mind anyway. Then moving on, we've got Diamond Blast and Sapphire Blue finish. So the Antidote SB1 has a Diamond Blast finish, which reduces glare address and features a Sapphire Blue T alignment and ironized 6061 aluminium pocket insert. So as I mentioned, there's a pocket insert to make it a zero torque putter. When it comes down to the colorings, might have to give this one a little wash. a little bit of sand in the bottom of it. Gonna have to give it one. Just noticed that, and you'll notice it, I'm sure, in a video of the close-up. Never mind. I did use it on a green, which was a bit sandy, but I didn't think there was anything there. Anyway, moving on. Sorry, got massively distracted there because it's so bright in my office today. But yeah, so they reduced the glare on it, which is really good, because the last thing you want to be looking down is any clubs in my mind and having that sort of sun glaring off there, even though I do have it in the UK at the moment. We don't get the sun that often here, and I do like the blue alignment age. I think that looks really cool and works really well. And then you've got premium components. So the Antidote series putter comes paired with a chrome tour grade shaft. Here you go. A custom matching lambkin model. So you've got a custom one here, or you've got a Win CB model grip if you want it, and the Antidote series magnetic head cover. Just make sure I did have the lambkin one then. And then the head cover, as you'd expect, is of great quality and magnetic. So there you go. So some obviously great information about it. Lengthwise, you can get it 34 and 35 as standard. You can obviously get it custom if you need it, and you can get standard or jumbo grip. I always say with these type of putters that zero torque putters, if you want to get them customized, do it at the place. So do this at Bettinardi. Obviously L.A.B have a great fitting process. Do it with them so they can make sure that the balance is correct. The last thing you want to be doing is buying something like this and extending it yourself, changing the putter grip or something like that from standard, and then you're going to still maybe perhaps lose that balance and you lose that zero torque because of it, because the weight is slightly off. So do be aware of these things. All right, so there you go. There's all the technologies in this. Now let's get down to the putting green, discuss the feel of it, etc. And etc. And more and more and more and more, and bits and bits and bits down the putting green, and then we're going to come back here for the ACS Golf Scale. All right, see you in a bit. Here I am down at the putting green with the Bettinardi. Now, first things first, let's discuss the feel of this club. So the feel is lovely, with that sort of milling on the face and the way they've done it. It feels absolutely fantastic. Not only that, the roll is very true. It's definitely end over end. You can tell this is a premium putter that's been well thought about and well made. Now, when it comes down to alignment, I always struggle with alignment when it comes down to these centre shafted putters, I have to admit. So there's definitely some misses because of myself, but then there's definitely some misses as well because I'm not necessarily sure this putter is suited for me. But alignment wise, that blue is very good, and if you sort of get over the fact that it is the centre shaft, it's not bad for a blade, to be honest. Sound wise, feels very sort of punchy off the face. One thing I will say is when hitting it lightly, the putter can feel actually quite hard, but when you hit it quite hard, it actually comes off really soft. Doesn't affect distance wise, not at all. I mean, you can really control the distance of this club, which is perfect. Just weird feel, that you suddenly have that quite harder feel and then softer feel. Overall though, the feel of this is fantastic, as you'd expect, but just something to be aware with, especially if you miss it, you can tell if there's a miss hit, which is really nice actually. I quite like that. Forgiveness wise, as you'd expect, obviously not the most forgiving club because it is a blade, but overall, I had a lot of fun with this putter. Definitely something that I feel like I could definitely use if it was suited for my game. Unfortunately, these zero torque putters don't tend to work a lot for me, but enjoyed taking it on the course the other day, and definitely enjoyed being down on the putting green with this, even though I have to admit in this video I haven't exactly hit quite a few putts here, but it is a fantastic club and it's definitely worth a go if you're looking in that zero torque sort of category and you don't want to go down the L.A.B route. So there you go. And overall, really enjoyed hitting it. I've actually taken this out on the golf course as well. Did some pretty good hits with it there. Putted pretty well. I think it was 30. I can actually tell you right now because I keep a little list of all these. So I took it out. Where is it? Should be here somewhere. There it is. So I took it to Silvermere, so my local golf course, 31 putts. So not bad at all with it, to be fair, when I was on the golf course. But there is a glaring issue that I have with this club, which I will mention in a second. And it's actually not down to this. It's actually all zero torque putters, which is why I've actually moved away from them. If you're thinking about zero torque to fix your putting stroke or etc., they're not a magic wand. they're not necessarily going to fix it. Practice, 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 and even lessons nowadays, you know, getting the right putter for you might help. Not necessarily have to be zero torque though, and I'll discuss why I don't personally play a zero torque putter. Maybe that'll change in the future, but we'll discuss that in a second. So into the ACS Golf Scale. So we've got 5 categories. We've got distance control, feel, looks, price, and forgiveness. So distance control, I've given this 4.5 out of 5. Very good, you know, off the face to really gauge that distance control, definitely close to the hole. I find though with blades, I tend to struggle a little bit more when I'm further away from the hole than I would with, say, a mallet. So that's maybe why it hasn't got a 5 out of 5. However, that is definitely just my perception of this club. You guys out there might find it absolutely fine. I mean, the roll is very true. It's great, you know, so you're going to be happy with it. It's going to do exactly what you need it to do as long as you hit it where you need to hit it. Obviously, being a blade, if you're missing the, you know, the center of the face, it is going to slow the ball down quite a bit. There's a famous video of Tiger Woods when he's like has to got a downhill putt on the obviously PGA Tour golf course. You know, he's got his old faithful Scotty Cameron. He doesn't actually hit the ball out of the middle on purpose. He hits it out the toe, so it comes out a lot slower and just trickles down the hill and goes in the ball. You know, because if you do miss the middle of the face, it does affect the speed. So do be aware of that. But yeah, 4.5 out of 5, really happy with it. I just tend to find with blades, including this, struggle a little bit more with those longer putts, but you could just blame me for that. Feel wise, 5 out of 5, love the feel of it. Maybe a little bit compact with that there, but generally the grooves on the face feels lovely, very responsive. And as I mentioned, roll over roll is lovely and perfect. Looks 4.5 out of 5. I think this is a great looking putter. You know, when it comes down to zero torque and having to have that center shaft there and a bit of mass there as well to make it, you know, sometimes you can struggle to make definitely a putter look like a blade when you want it to be a blade. And I think Bettinardi did a great job with this. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the blue. My only downside is, of course, it is a little bit chunky here, but not the end of the world. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5, and that's the only reason it hasn't got a 5 out of 5. Forgiveness wise, this is a blade. You know, compare this to a putter, you know, not a putter, sorry, to a mallet. That all putters can play it to a mallet. Obviously, it's not going to have the forgiveness as a mallet, as I just mentioned. Obviously, if you do miss the center, you are going to be punished a little bit. But overall, really happy with it. For what this is, 3.5 out of 5. You know, a few mishits and everything there, and it still sort of went true on its course. It was maybe a little bit short. There's no ever sort of big misses, but I will explain. For me though, there are some big misses, but that's definitely just for my stroke, and I will discuss that in a second, my overall view for this. But forgiveness wise, 3.5 out of 5 for a blade. It is very forgiving, but remember, it is still a blade. If you want maximum forgiveness, like a lot of tour players use nowadays, use a mallet putter. You know, personally for me, I do love blades, but I do sometimes struggle to line the ball up, and I definitely found that again with this, even though it is a little bit chunkier. Now on to price. Now, if you're looking to buy one of these brand new, you're looking at around £419 in the UK. In the US, $450. Now that is cheaper than your L.A.B putters. Your L.A.B putters, as everyone knows, obviously the first ones to sort of really do the zero. Well, maybe not the first ones to really do the zero torque. You know, the back strike from Odyssey, where they had the insert, well, not the insert, but they had the actual, you know, the shaft going into the back of the putter. Maybe you could claim that that was the first sort of attempt of a zero torque putter, but obviously L.A.B have really pushed it, and you know, they would go down in their mind as the first ones to do it. You know, and they're about $479. So these do come in cheaper, which I think is really good. But then there are cheaper out there. You know, you've got your Odysseys, which come in cheaper. You know, their take on these zero torque putters. You know, they're coming around the £200, sort of mid £200 marks. You've got PXG that come in a little bit cheaper, you know, especially their new one, the Hellcat, which is around, what, £160, something like that. So there are, and that's a blade as well, you know, and that's a really good looking blade. Don't think it's going to feel as good as this, but if you just want a zero torque putter that's cheap, it's a great option. So yes, the price of this is, compared to everything else, it is a little bit cheaper than the bigger guys, but there are cheaper ones like Odyssey, like PXG out there that you can get zero torque and be cheaper than this. But then this is a premium putter, you know, it's a premium brand. Even if you had a standard one of these, they'd still be more expensive than the Odyssey, still be more expensive than your PXG, because they are that premium putter. You know, they're the Scotty Camerons. They're like Scotty Camerons or anything. They're not the Scotty Camerons. Obviously, no one can be the Scotty Camerons, but, you know, they are Scotty Cameron equivalent. You know, they're like your Ping PLDs, your tailor-made reserves, TM reserves, which they sort of brought out. You know, your Odyssey used to be your Odyssey Toulons. Now it'd be like those milled versions they do. So there's a lot out there that would be in that premium market, same as this. So do be aware of that. There are cheaper options out there when it comes down to these type of putters, but they're not your premium putters, so just be aware. But yeah, for that, I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5, exactly where I would expect it. Now, my overall thoughts about this putter and why I'm not going to be playing it, even though I love it and I think it's a really, really cool item, is because for me, a zero torque putter, and I had the same issue with the L.A.Bs, which is actually why I took out my L.A.B Mez, I just tend to push it left. I don't know, it's just my stroke just doesn't like that zero torque. I'm not a huge fan of standing straight over the putter with the sort of, you know, with the shaft going straight in the middle. I always find it doesn't help with my alignment either, because you've got the shaft where the ball is, to be honest. You know, I have started using the ball now and sort of using that to line up with my Cobra that I've got, but I've always just struggled a little bit with it. So for me, I just push this thing left. There's quite a few putts on that, you know, silver midday, which maybe if I had my Cobra in there, you know, not gonna lie, I think I would have putted a little bit well. Yes, obviously I wasn't two putting, the average is below that, but then my chipping game's pretty strong, so I think that's probably what aided me at the time. But, you know, for me and all zero torque putters, I just tend to push it a little bit left of the hole, and it's quite regularly that happens. You know, I have to really concentrate to keep it straight, which is fine. You need to concentrate when you hit a putt, but every now and again that slips, you know, and I don't really want a putter in my bag where if I suddenly lose a little bit of concentration, I'm going to be missing it left of the hole. So that is just for me, and that is why I'm saying when it comes down to zero torque putters, don't think they're going to heal your golf, well, your golf swing, heal your putting stroke. Because for some people, such as myself, they don't necessarily work. Well, not at the moment anyway. Maybe in the future I will find one that does really work, but at the moment, yeah, it just doesn't work for me. There's just too many putts, so I feel like I should be getting it in, and I just miss it left, which I do find it quite annoying. But overall, a fantastic putter, and if you're looking for a premium zero torque putter, give it a go. You will enjoy it. And also keep an eye on the second-hand market. I mean, these things are going around 260 to what, 350 now on the second-hand market. The prices are starting to drop, especially in the UK anyway. So do keep your eye on the UK, because it might be worth having a go, and then potentially, if it doesn't work, reselling it for exactly the same price that you bought it for. All right, guys, now I hope you enjoyed this review of the Bettinardi the Antidote SB1. Overall, a fantastic putter, but as I mentioned, this zero torque malarkey just isn't for me. Well, not for me at the moment anyway. Comment down below if you play a zero torque putter like this, or, you know, the L.A.Bs or anything like that. Let me know your thoughts on them, and if, you know, they've been revolutionary to your game, you know, have they really improved it? Or like me, you've tried them and gone, hold on, actually I prefer the more standard traditional putters. So do let me know in the comments down below. Obviously, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and do remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you do not miss out on weekly ACS Golf reviews of your older second-hand equipment, your new stuff every now and again on a Friday, a versus video on a Wednesday every now and again as well. We've basically just got lots of stuff coming out, so yeah, you don't want to miss it. All right, guys, I'll see you soon for the next ACS Golf video. See you then. Bye-bye.